used to think a pixie cut on a woman over 60 was a dare, not a hairstyle. I was wrong, and I found that out the hard way in a salon chair in my late 60s, staring at a version of myself I almost didn't recognize, in a good way. Today I'm walking you through 7 pixie cuts that don't just trim your hair short, they genuinely rejuvenate your whole face. And I'm putting number 4 last for a reason. When you see it, you'll understand why women are printing out a photo of it and bringing it straight to their stylist. I researched the best haircuts and styling fixes for women over 50 so you get real results, not guesswork. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every single week. Part 1. The soft textured crop that lifts your whole face. Here's something most stylists won't say out loud. The number 1 reason pixie cuts age women over 60 isn't the length, it's the flatness. A too short, too uniform crop with no texture reads as severe, almost institutional. And it drags every line on your face downward with it. Diane found this out after her divorce, when she chopped off 18 inches in one appointment out of pure impulse. She walked out with what she called her prison cut. Same length everywhere, no shape, no lift, no softness. She avoided cameras for 2 years because of it. The fix is what stylists call a soft textured crop. Instead of one uniform length, the top is cut in irregular, feathered layers that create movement and lift right at the crown, while the sides stay close and clean. The texture is what does the rejuvenating work here. Uniform hair reflects light in one flat plane, which shows every shadow and every line on your face. Textured hair breaks that plane into dozens of tiny reflective surfaces, and that scatter of light softens your features instantly, the same way diffused lighting softens a photograph. Ask for this exact phrase at your next appointment. Point cut texture through the crown. 2 to 3 inches of length retained on top, with a razored finish, not a blunt one. That razored finish matters more than people realize. A blunt cut creates hard edges that catch light in one direction only. A razored edge feathers the ends so they catch light from multiple angles, which is what creates that soft, lifted look instead of a helmet look. Diane's stylist did exactly this on her second visit, after the prison cut incident. The crown texture added visible height without adding a single inch of extra length. And the razored ends softened her jawline in a way she said no filter had ever managed. Her words, not mine. She told me the difference between the 2 cuts felt like the difference between a passport photo and an actual portrait. What changes as a result isn't just the shape of your hair, it's how people read your face in the first 2 seconds of seeing you. A flat crop reads as tired, or like you gave up on the effort entirely. A textured crop reads as intentional, current, put together, even if you spent 30 seconds on it that morning. That's the real payoff. It's not about looking younger in some vague sense. It's about people's first impression shifting from she cut her hair short to she has a haircut. There's also a maintenance advantage nobody mentions in the first conversation. Texture hides regrowth far better than a blunt uniform cut does. With a blunt crop, you can see the exact day your roots start pushing through, because every strand is the same length and any new growth stands out instantly. With texture, the layers are already irregular, so new growth blends into the existing movement for weeks longer. That means fewer touch-up appointments and less anxiety about how you look between visits. If you're sitting in the chair right now nervous about going shorter, ask your stylist to leave slightly more length on top than you think you want, in the first cut. You can always go shorter at your 4-week check-in once you've seen how the texture falls and moves on your particular hair type. Going too short in one pass, before you understand how your hair texture actually behaves at this length, is the single most common regret women describe to me. Diane's second cut worked because her stylist held back an inch of length on top that first time, then trimmed it tighter once Diane confirmed she loved the movement. The before was flat, heavy, and aging. The after was lifted, textured, and years lighter without a single dye job involved. And this is only the first cut on the list. The one coming up next takes that same lifting principle and applies it somewhere most women never think to ask for it. Part 2, the asymmetric fringe and the layered crown lift. Most women think a pixie only has one fringe option, straight across, blunt, done. That assumption is exactly why so many pixies over 60 end up looking dated instead of daring. There are actually 2 distinct fixes in this part, and each one solves a completely different problem. So let's take them one at a time, starting with the fringe. An asymmetric fringe is cut at a diagonal, longer on one side and shorter on the other, instead of falling in a straight horizontal line across the forehead. A straight-across fringe on a mature face tends to emphasize horizontal forehead lines, because it sits parallel to them and essentially frames them like a border around a photograph. A diagonal fringe breaks that horizontal line entirely. It draws the eye in a sweeping diagonal motion instead, which is a far more flattering visual path across the face, and it softens forehead texture without a single product or filter involved. Colette had worn the same straight-across fringe for almost 15 years, ever since her 40s. She told me she genuinely believed it was just her style, until her granddaughter, of all people, pointed out in a video call that it made her look like she was squinting even when she wasn't. That comment stuck with her more than she expected. She brought it up at her very next salon visit. The exact phrase to use with your stylist: cut my fringe on a diagonal, longer over one eyebrow, tapering shorter toward the opposite temple, with soft point cut ends. The point cut ends matter here too, for the same reason as part 1. A hard blunt edge on a diagonal fringe still looks like a mistake if the tips aren't softened. Colette's stylist took the diagonal down close to her brow bone on the longer side, which had the unexpected side effect of making her eyes look larger and more open, since the fringe no longer sat as a flat visual ceiling above them. Now for the second half of this fix, because a great fringe on top of a flat crown still won't finish the job. This is where the layered crown lift comes in. And it's the piece that actually gives the Pixie its rejuvenating silhouette from the side, not just from the front. Ask specifically for vertical layering through the crown, cut to stand slightly away from the scalp, with weight removed underneath rather than at the ends. Weight removal underneath, instead of at the tips, is the detail most requests miss. Cutting weight from the ends alone just makes hair thinner looking, while removing it underneath lets the top layers keep their fullness and actually lift upward. The result, together, is a profile that changes shape entirely. Seen from the side, a flat-crowned Pixie has almost no vertical dimension at all. It hugs the skull in a way that can look severe or even masculine on some face shapes. A lifted, layered crown adds real height above the head, which elongates the whole face shape and creates a much softer, more classically flattering profile silhouette, especially for round or square face shapes that benefit from that extra vertical line. Colette's before was a flat, blunt fringe sitting like a heavy line above tired-looking eyes, paired with a crown that had no shape when she turned to the side. Her after paired the diagonal fringe with the layered crown lift, and the two fixes together did something neither one would have done alone. They gave her face both a softer frame in front and real dimension from the side. She told me the first time she caught her reflection in a shop window afterward, she didn't recognize herself for half a second, and it wasn't a bad feeling at all. 2 fixes down, 5 to go, and the next one on the list is the exact detail that turns a plain Pixie into what stylists quietly call a facelift cut, without a single needle involved. Part 3. The undercut nape that removes a decade from your neckline. Nobody talks about the back of the neck when they talk about Pixie cuts, and that's a genuine oversight, because it's one of the most age-revealing areas on the entire head. Loose, longer hair at the nape tends to droop and cling to the neck, which draws attention to any softness or looseness in that area. And for most women over 60, that's exactly the spot they'd rather not highlight. It's not a fair rule of aging, but it is a real one, and hairstyles either work with it or against it. The fix is a clean undercut nape, where the hair at the very back and lower sides is cut close and precise, almost buzzed, while the top and crown keep their length and texture from the cuts we covered earlier. The visual effect is striking, and it's almost entirely about contrast. A close, defined nape against fuller hair on top creates a sharp architectural line that draws the eye upward toward your face and cheekbones instead of downward toward your neck. It's the same principle a well-tailored jacket collar uses. Clean lines at the base make everything above look more structured and more intentional. The phrase to bring to your stylist is specific. A soft undercut at the nape, tapered close with clippers, blended gradually into the length on top rather than cut with a hard line. That word gradually is doing real work in that sentence. A hard, abrupt line between the short nape and the longer top can look severe or overly geometric on a mature face. A gradual blend softens the transition so the whole cut reads as one cohesive shape rather than two different lengths stacked on top of each other. Marguerite had resisted this exact fix for almost a year after her stylist first suggested it. She told me she associated undercuts with something for young people with edgy jobs, not something for a retired schoolteacher in her 70s. What finally changed her mind was her stylist showing her, with a handheld mirror, exactly how much the loose hair at her nape was adding visual weight and softness to that whole area, in a way she genuinely hadn't clocked in the mirror at home, where she never really looked at herself from behind. What actually changes once this is done isn't just the back of your head, it's your whole silhouette from any angle. In photographs, especially the candid kind taken at family gatherings where you don't get to pick your angle, a defined nape keeps your neckline looking clean and sharp instead of soft and undefined. Marguerite said the difference showed up first in a photo her son took at Thanksgiving, where she was turned slightly away from the camera. She said it was the first time in years a photo from that angle didn't bother her. There's a practical bonus here too, beyond the visual one. An undercut nape needs far less daily styling than longer hair in that same area, because there's simply less hair there to fall out of place, frizz in humidity, or need constant smoothing. For women who already find shorter hair appealing because of lower maintenance, this fix pushes that convenience even further, without sacrificing any of the softness or femininity on top, where it still shows. Marguerite's before was loose, soft, undefined hair drooping at the nape, adding visual weight to an area she'd never even considered part of her hairstyle. Her after was a tapered undercut, clean and structured, blended seamlessly into fuller length on top. She told me she now specifically asks her stylist to check the nape at every single appointment, because it turned out to be the detail she'd been overlooking the entire time. That's 3 fixes down. The next part holds 2 more, and one of them is the exact cut that inspired this whole video in the first place. The one I promised you at the start. Part 4. The side-swept pixie and the volume-boosting crown spike. Number 4 is here. This part covers 2 cuts, and the second one is the reason I made this video at all. So stay with me through both because the first sets up exactly why the second one works so well. Let's start with the side-swept pixie. A center-parted or evenly balanced pixie, where hair falls the same on both sides, is symmetrical in a way that can actually work against you as you get older. Perfect symmetry reads as rigid and can flatten your features, because there's no visual asymmetry to draw the eye anywhere interesting. Everything sits in a static, mirrored line. A side-swept pixie breaks that symmetry deliberately. The top length is directed to one side, usually with a deep side part, creating a diagonal sweep across the crown instead of a flat, centered part. Rosalind had worn a perfectly center-parted pixie for almost a decade before trying this. She described her old style, in her own words, as looking correct but boring, like a photograph in an instruction manual rather than an actual portrait of a real person. She wanted something with more personality, but she was nervous about anything too dramatic for her workplace, since she still did part-time consulting work at 71. The phrase for this one: cut a deep side part, with the longer side swept diagonally across the crown, and enough texture in that length to hold the sweep without heavy product. That last detail about texture matters, because a side-swept style cut with no texture at all tends to slide flat and lose its sweep within an hour, which is a common complaint women have after asking for this look without being specific about the texture underneath it. Rosalind's stylist added the same point-cut texture from part 1 into her side sweep specifically to solve this. Now here's the one I've been building toward, the volume-boosting crown spike. This is the 4th cut on this list, and it's the one that genuinely operates on another level from everything else here, because it does something none of the previous fixes attempt. It uses directional cutting at the crown to create actual architectural height, almost like a soft, wearable version of a runway cut, but built specifically to be office-appropriate and age-flattering rather than editorial and extreme. Here's the mechanism. Regular hair, even textured hair, still generally follows the direction it naturally grows in, which for most people is somewhat flat against the scalp at the crown. A volume-boosting crown spike is cut with the layers angled against that natural growth direction at the very top section. So when styled, that section resists lying flat and instead stands up and slightly forward, creating real 3-dimensional height rather than just visual texture. It's the difference between hair that looks lifted in a photograph and hair that is actually, physically lifted off the scalp. The exact request. Cut the crown layers on an angle against the natural growth direction, short enough to hold shape without daily blow drying, styled with just a small amount of matte paste worked through with your fingers. The matte paste detail matters because a shiny or wet look product will make this cut fall flat, literally. Matte texture is what gives the spiked layers enough grip to stay upright through the day. What this fix changes is dramatic in a way the others aren't. It doesn't just soften your face or clean up a line. It adds genuine height and drama to your whole silhouette, the kind of cut that gets you stopped by strangers asking who does your hair. It reads as confident, current, even a little bit fearless, which is exactly the reputation this cut has earned among the women who've tried it. It's not subtle, and that's the entire point. Rosalind's before, for the side-swept Pixie, was a flat, symmetrical, center-parted cut that read as safe but forgettable. Her after was a deep side sweep with texture that held its shape through a full workday. And the crown spike, cut number 4, transforms an already good Pixie into something with genuine presence in the room. The kind of cut that doesn't whisper, it states. 4 fixes covered, 3 remain to go. And the next one solves a problem specific to fine, thinning hair that the other cuts on this list don't fully address on their own. Part 5, the graduated Bob Pixie hybrid for fine, thinning hair. Here's a truth almost nobody says plainly enough. Not every Pixie cut on this list works the same way on fine or thinning hair. And pretending otherwise sets women up for a cut that looks thin and patchy instead of lifted and full. If your hair has thinned with age, the very short, closely cropped versions of some earlier cuts can actually expose more scalp than intended, which is the opposite of the rejuvenating effect we're going for here. The fix for this specific hair type is what stylists call a graduated Bob Pixie hybrid. It keeps slightly more length than a traditional Pixie, usually landing just at or slightly below the jaw at the longest point, while still maintaining short, textured layers at the crown and sides. The graduation refers to how the length builds gradually from very short at the nape to longer at the front, rather than one uniform length throughout, which is the key detail that makes this work specifically for finer hair. Why does more length actually help fine hair look fuller, when you'd expect the opposite? It comes down to weight and gravity working in your favor instead of against you. Very short hair on fine strands has almost nothing holding it up or out, so it lies completely flat against the scalp with no visual bulk at all. Slightly longer hair, even just a few inches, has enough natural weight and layering to create the illusion of density, because the layers overlap each other and build visual thickness, the same way stacking several thin sheets of paper creates something that reads as substantial, even though each sheet alone is nearly nothing. The phrase to use with your stylist. A graduated cut, shortest at the nape building gradually to jaw length at the front, with layers cut to overlap rather than separate, and minimal thinning shears anywhere near the crown. That last part about thinning shears is genuinely important for this hair type specifically. Thinning shears remove bulk, which is the opposite of what fine hair needs. Most of the fullness in this cut has to come from the graduated length and the layering angle, not from shears. The snapback result here is specific and immediate. Where a too short cut on fine hair can accidentally draw attention to thinning, making it the first thing people notice, a graduated Bob Pixie hybrid does the opposite. It draws attention to shape and movement instead, and the visual density it creates actually makes hair look healthier and thicker than it did even before any thinning began. Women who make this switch consistently tell me it's the first haircut in years where a compliment on their hair came before anything else was said. There's also a real confidence shift that happens once scalp visibility stops being a daily worry. So many women with fine or thinning hair develop small, anxious habits without even realizing it. Angling their head a certain way in photos, avoiding overhead lighting, patting the crown down throughout the day to check nothing's showing through. Once the graduated length and layering are doing their job properly, those habits fade because the underlying worry that caused them simply isn't there anymore. The before, for this fix, was short, flat, and thin-looking hair with visible scalp at the crown, the kind of cut that unintentionally highlighted the very thing it was meant to hide. The after was a graduated Bob Pixie hybrid, jaw length at the front, full of overlapping layers that built genuine visual density without a single extension or piece added. It's proof that the right length, not necessarily the shortest length, is what actually rejuvenates fine hair. That's all 7 pixie cuts covered across these 5 parts, from the softest textured crop to the boldest crown spike. And now it's time to bring it all together. You now know all 7 pixie cuts that genuinely rejuvenate a mature face, from the soft textured crop that lifts flatness, to that crown spike at number 4 that gave this whole video its title. You know the exact phrases to bring to your stylist, and more importantly, you know why each fix actually works, not just what to ask for. That's real knowledge, and it belongs to you now every time you sit in that chair. Tell me in the comments which one of these 7 you're bringing to your next appointment. Was it the diagonal fringe, the undercut nape, or that crown spike everyone's been asking about? Next week I'm covering the exact color techniques that pair with every one of these cuts to add even more dimension. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.